everyone, it's your Shekhadi and you are welcome in my channel Gurukul English Classes, and today's topic is the chapter 6 Memories of Childhood by Zitkala Sa and Bama. So let's start the topic, but before starting I want that please subscribe my channel and share it with your friends. So this chapter is divided into two parts, and today in this video I would explain only the first part, that is the cutting of my long hair. And is this part is belong to a young girl who recalls her memory of her first day in the land of apples was bitterly cold with snow covering the surroundings. Besides, her first experience at the school where she was admitted with other Native American boys and girls was equally unpleasant. Jitkalasa longed for freedom, but it was useless to think of it. Before you read, this unit presents autobiographical episodes from the lives of two women from marginalized communities who look back on their childhood and reflect on their relationship with the mainstream culture. The first account is by an American Indian woman born in the late 19th century. The second is by a contemporary of Tamil Dalit writer. So, first of all, we should read The Cutting of My Long Hair. A white woman placed them in the line of girls who were marching into the dining room. Here you can see this is the first day in the land of apples. And the narrator noticed that the Native American girls wore sleeved aprons and had shingled hair. She was feeling very uncomfortable in the school dress. She also saw boys come in from the opposite door. A small bell was tapped, and every student pulled out a chair from under the table. The narrator also pulled out a chair and sat down. And after sitting, she was surprised to find that she was the only who was sitting. Just as she began to rise, a second bell was rang. All sat down and she had to crawl back into her chair again. She heard a man at one end of the hall praying. The other students sat with their heads hung over their plates. As the narrator was glancing at the surroundings, she caught the eyes of a pale faced white woman upon her. You can see. So she wondered why the woman was looking at her so keenly. After the man ceased his mutterings, a third bell was tapped and everybody started eating with a knife and fork. Jitkalasa started crying. Jitkalasa's friend Judwin knew some English and she had overheard the white woman talk about cutting their hair. The thought of having her hair cut was unacceptable to the narrator. In their society, short hair was worn by mourners and shingled hair by cowards. So the narrator thought that the school people were strong and they would all have to allow their hair to be cut, but Jitkalasa was ready to put up a fight. So she told her friend that she would struggle first and not submit willingly before the oppressors. When she got the chance to escape, she escaped. But how? But how? This is the question. Jitkalasa crawled under the bed. Here you can see she is crawling under a bed. And she, after some time, she started searching. That someone was searching about her. She heard Judwin call her name, but she did not answer. Finally, the women and the girls who were looking for Jitkalasa entered the room in which she was hiding. She held her breath while the others searched the room. The next thing she remembered was being dragged out. And after this, she was resisting, kicking and scratching wildly. She was carried downstairs and tied to a chair. At last, she felt a cold scissor blade against her neck, gnaw one of her thick braids. This was the end of her resistance. And finally, yes, finally, she was deeply she lost her spirit. She was reminded of all the humiliation she went through since the day she parted with her mother. She was deeply sad and nobody comforted her. She missed her mother and felt like an animal driven by a herder. Here you can see that last words of the writer Now I was only one of many little animals driven by a herder. So, this is the remembrance of the writer, and now we will read the second part, and the second part is a contemporary Tamil Dalit writer. Bama is the pen name of a Tamil Dalit woman from a Roman Catholic family. She has published three main works: an autobiography, Karukku 1992, a novel, Sangati 1994, and a collection of short stories, Kisumabukaran 1996. This following excerpt has been taken from Karukku. So let's start the topic, and the topic is we are, two are human beings, and this is written by Bama. The narrator takes us back to her childhood when she was a carefree child studying in the third class. The walk from school to home was hardly of 10 minutes, but it would take her half an hour to 1 hour to cover the distance. Why? Because the entertaining sights would prevent her from going home. The performing monkey, the snake charmer, you can see here, she told about her watching the games that were going on, all the entertaining novelties and oddities is the streets, the shops, and the bazaar. The performing monkey, the snake with the snake charmer kept in its box and displayed from time to time. The cyclist who had not got off his bike for 3 days. Oh my god. He had not got off his bike for 3 days and who kept paddling as hard as he could. One day, when the narrator was returning home, she saw a threshing floor set up on her street. A landlord was watching over the proceedings. The people of her caste were driving the cattle. Just then, she noticed an elder of her street. He was carrying a small pocket. Here you can see in which manner he would take the pocket. This packet contained some varai and the pocket had become wet. The narrator thought to herself that the packet might come undone, but still the elder was not touching it. The narrator walked, made Bama shriek with laughter. The elder crouched while handing over the packet to the landlord. The narrator returned home and told her elder brother Anna about the incident. She was laughing uncontrollably, but Anna did not seem to be amused. Why Anna did not laugh? What was happening you? Elder brother, who was studying at a university, had come home for the holidays. He would often go to the library in our neighboring village in order to borrow books. He was on his way home one day, walking along the banks of the irrigation tank. So he told her that the elder and they were considered low caste. Yes, this is the low caste system. The landlord belonged to the upper caste. The upper caste people thought that if low caste people touched them or anything that belonged to them, they or it would be polluted. That's why the elder was carrying the packet by its string. After hearing this, the narrator did not want to laugh anymore. She felt infuriated and provoked. She felt compelled to touch the rest Varaz herself. Anna told Bama that because they were born into a low caste community, they were never given any honor or dignity or respect. He advised her to study hard and learn all that she could because only education could help them throw off all the indignities. The words that Anna spoke to her that day made a very deep impression on me, she told. As Anna had urged, I stood first in my class, and because of that, many people become my friends. So, this is the story, and these are the stories. We will meet in next video. Till then, tata, bye bye, and thank you for your support.